Disclaimer: even though this is a loaner unit from a fellow headfire, this review is 100% my own thoughts and opinion. I would also like to thank Beyond the Music Store for bringing Soranik to Indonesia. And huge thanks to Mr. Hugh for having a chat with me during your preparation for CanJam. Before going in depth with the IEMs themselves, let's first introduce both Soranik and MEMS driver technology. Let's start with Soranik. Soranik is a rather new company established in 2012, but officially became a company in 2016. Soranik aimed to be a leading IEM manufacturer in Vietnam market. For me, Soranik in general is quite new, as technically their products are out of my budget range. But fortunately, I did get a chance to meet Mr. Hugh in Papi 2024. Tried some of their products and prototypes, and listened to others when sharing their opinions about the IEMs. There, I only tried their previous generation of MEMS-3S. For me, that one is slightly too bright, but they are very promising. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to try out the newer 2025 model until a few months ago. Let's just say I am quite satisfied with the sound of the 2025 model. While writing this review, I had a little conversation with Mr. Hugh and shared that he started Soranik on his own as a hobby at first. It is impressive that through dedication and hard work, you can basically do anything. Thank you, Mr. Hugh, for the little chat we had. Looking forward to seeing what Soranik has in store in the near future. Moving on, the MEMS driver technology seems to also be picking up in popularity, especially in the higher end side of things. I think there are some MEMS IM from the Hi-Fi market, like the Moondrop Concerto and the Hibi Digital Zeno. In my research for this video, it seems like MEMS driver are solid-state silicon drivers that are really small. MEMS driver also need an extra amplifier to power them. I will talk more about them in another section. I'm not going in depth about the MEMS technology in this video, but in case you are interested to learn more, I will leave you a link in the description to Soranik's and MEMS website. About the MEMS drivers in general, other than Soranik's product and prototypes mentioned before, the other MEMS IM I have tried is the Breeze Audio Fugaku, which I will not be talking about much in this video. I have introduced you to Soranik and drivers. That is the highlight of this set. Let's now talk about the set themselves. The Soranik MEMS-3S 2025 is an ultra high-end IM from the brand Soranik. Technically, this is also a lot of firsts for me. The first IM from Soranik, the first IM that has MEMS driver that I reviewed, and technically the first ultra high-end IM I reviewed. It truly is an honor to be at this point, but as always, I digress. The MEMS-3S is a hybrid IM with the configuration of it is going to be a long one. One isobaric X-MEMS micro speaker, one isobaric U-sound micro speaker, both are full ranged, one full range dynamic driver, and one more dynamic driver as a subwoofer. So basically, 2 MEMS driver and 2 dynamics drivers. As mentioned before, since the MEMS-3S, I will just call them the MEMS from now. Back to it. As mentioned before, since the MEMS utilize, MEMS drivers, they will need an extra amplifier called an Energizer to drive them. The unboxing experience includes opening up the big box and the small box. Starting with the big box, you open it to reveal the smaller box. Underneath, there is an even smaller accessories box that houses the charging brick, interconnect cable, and a USB-A to C cable for charging the Energizer, which is placed next to the small accessories box. Moving to the smaller box, which is technically the main event of the unboxing experience, reveals a metallic case the warranty card, a case of ear tips, 2 types to be exact. The black ones are wide bores and the white ones are narrow bore. Opening up the metal case, and you will have to be careful with this one, reveals a small baggie and the included IM cable. Opening up that small baggie reveals the beautifully crafted MEMS-3S 2025. Since the IMs comes with a Energizer, you will definitely need to use them. The first thing I would do is to charge the Energizer with the included charger. Charging the Energizer usually takes around 6 hours from a flat battery. From a full charge, the Energizer's battery lasts around 27 hours during my tests. I think it is pretty good, even though technically it can be quite a hassle. Keep it in mind that Soranik also recommends that you supply enough charge to the IEM for the best experience. It is perhaps also worth noting that all you need to know about setting up your IEM is included with the pamphlet. But in case you have lost yours or it is not available for you, I will try my best to show this to you. First, you prepare and locate the in and output of the Energizer. The port labeled as in is for connecting your interconnect cable to your source. As for the other one, labeled out, it is for connecting your IM to the Energizer. Then, you connect your interconnect to the Energizer, followed by your source with your interconnect. After that, you connect the MEMS-3S 4.4 balance jack to the out port on the Energizer. Before turning on the power to the Energizer, do keep it in mind to lower your source output volume and make sure that it is not on line out. While not wearing the IM, turn on the Energizer. Last but definitely not least, wear your MEMS-3S and enjoy your listening session. I think the overall downside of the MEMS-3S is perhaps the Energizer. I personally do not mind it, as I usually listen to IMs at the office or somewhere I can sit. Although there is a thing that I wish the Energizer has, which is adding a 50% charging indicator. I think that adding the 50% charge state on the Energizer can help a lot determining roughly how long the Energizer needed to be charged. The design is a stunner for me. I am such a sucker for the white marble pattern. Not to mention the faceplate, with such a bold and open back design. While it is supposed to be open back, it seems like this one is quite sealed, as wearing them reminds me of wearing the Symphonium Meteor. Perhaps changing the ear tips around would fix this issue, but since I barely have any other ear tips, I cannot really say for sure. Speaking about ear tips, I like that the fact that their nozzle have filters that is quite deep inside, so you don't risk getting it punctured when putting ear tips on and off. Don't ask me how I know. Perhaps the IMs themselves can be quite big, and the insertion can be quite deep. This may or may not affect the comfort of wearing them. For me, they can be quite big and can be quite uncomfortable after 6 hours of listening sessions. But per usual, an extended listening session is not really recommended as it might be damaging to your ears. While filling the IMs with my hands, I think I may have found some spots that are not well finished. It is perhaps just a nitpick on my end, but I'm sure that they can get the hang of this over time. Included with the MEM-3S are 3 cables: charging cable for the Energizer, interconnect cable, and the IMs cable. The interconnect cable feels slightly thin, but it is overall still okay, and I quite like the jack they use. As for the IMs cable, I think it has a decent amount of microphonics and they can be quite distracting sometimes. It also feels slightly rubbery. Again, it is not really a big deal, but I think it is still worth noting. Upon the first listen, I find the MEMS-3S exceptionally technical. The tonality is well tuned for my taste. I encourage you to try it for yourself if it is possible. As for me, this is definitely one of the best experience I have with the product. And I am pretty confident in saying one thing for sure, is that the MEMS-3S is realistically my endgame IEM. Before going into the sound section, included in the loaner package are two custom interconnect cable from VIII. One is 12 braid full lavender cable, and the other is 16 braid of lavender and silver cable. Mind you, this is also my first time actually carrying and bringing up how cables sounds. I'm still not totally sold on it, and I think you should take it with a huge grain of salt. About the interconnect cable, the Lavender 12 is by far the widest in terms of presentation. It is also the most balanced out of the three. The bass feels fuller with the balance of sub and mid bass, while the lavender silver combination has less of that width and depth in the presentation. A little boost on the sub bass and mid bass. This cable seems to also boost the upper frequencies quite a bit. The included cable, however, has a slight hint of the previous cable, the slightly more upper mid focus presentation, while having less bass accentuation compared to the Lavender 12 and the Lavender Silver combination. However, with the included interconnect cable, it seems like the vocals and the instrument separation isn't particularly the best. I think out of the three, I really like the 12 braid Lavender. It has the best balance of bass, mids, and treble presentation. It sounds the fullest, the weightiest, and the widest. But without any of this, how does the MEMS-3S sound? The bass on the set slightly gives that enveloping bass rumble that fills the room. The balance of mid bass and sub bass is exquisite, showing off pronounced punch and rumble with a very good texturing. It also does not bleed to the lower mids, giving a very well executed, very clean bass. I think this type of bass tuning is very flexible across genres, giving a fun bass when paired with a fun track, while also being able to give that clean, well-controlled bass for a more conservative track. From songs like Change from Atarashigako to your favorite orchestral piece, which is for me The Bodyguards, I Will Always Love You by Danish National Symphony. Back to the first statement I made, the sub bass has that decay that fills the room. Perhaps it is not as long as the Breeze Audio Fugaku, yet I think this is slightly better for the kind of music I am usually listening to. As with longer decay, I think the rumble would probably be overwhelming. The mids on the set are well tuned. For me, the mids have that lushness to sound rich and wavy, yet light enough to extend well past the upper mid-range, giving a spacious, clean sound with a little hint of sparkle on the top end. It is such an amazing experience, especially with the combination of both a well-done bass and the extended treble response. I am pretty confident to say that this IEM is one of the best sounding, resolving, while being naturalistic IEM I've tried so far. Combining this with the mentioned Lavender 12 cable is perhaps the perfect combination for me, as it sounded the most natural and the weightiest. The treble performance of the MEM-3S is well extended, delivering an airy yet well-defined presentation. This extension enhanced the sense of spaciousness in the overall mix, adding depth and openness to the overall soundstage. The treble response also complements the mid-range and upper mid-range, contributing to a smooth and natural transition between frequencies. This results in a greater sense of clarity and vocal presence, While the treble extension might be perceived as slightly picky by some listeners, I find it to be well balanced, offering a refined, airy with excellent definition on the upper frequencies. The overall sound presentation is so good for my taste and listening habit of sometimes listening to an IEM and sometimes listening to the music played with said IEM, balancing between excellent technicalities and excellent tonality. 10 out of 10 will definitely recommend giving them a try, especially if you enjoy a clean sound without sacrificing the fun aspect. The listening experience is perhaps one of the more realistic listening experience I've ever had listening to this song, as it feels like you are actually attending the concert and listening to their performance from stage speakers. The staging themselves are not that mind-blowingly expansive as the Breeze Audio Fugaku, but I think it still counts as being very wide with very good depth. If this makes sense, the presentation of the stage performance is decently wide. The crowds helps a lot, making the whole experience wider. The crowd seems to be quite nicely rendered, even though it is definitely not the main focus of the whole recording. Perhaps a rather new addition to my sound impression side of things, but I think Rapture works well with the Soranik MEMS-3S. The imaging, the sound staging, and the speed is incredible. I personally like the imaging of this set, as the imaging feels so precise that each guitar on both left and right feels pinpoint, not only in this song, but in a lot of songs. The imaging is quite precise too. It also sounds clean and clear while having a rather nice atmosphere. It truly is an honor to be able to daily drive this for a while. This is perhaps the most expensive IM I have daily driven to date. It scares me a lot to bring them along with me every day. Perhaps in terms of portability, due to the need for MEMS Energizer, the MEMS-3S is not really an IM that I would use for commuting. Depending on how mobile you are, the MEMS-3S might not be something you will take with you out and about. If you don't really move a lot and you are mostly in a rather quiet environment, the MEMS-3S might be great for you. Daily driving the MEMS-3S25 is definitely scary, as these aren't mine, but due to the rather new driver technology and the overall well-tuned sound, I think it is a rather nice conversational piece, and it is quite fun to give other people a try. On a second thought, I probably shouldn't do that, but oh well, it happened. The Soranik MEMS-3S 2025 is rather new IM from the brand. I personally never heard of them until a few months ago and demoed their product in a local audio meet. I think as a company, they seem promising and I think they will, or may already have, do great things. The MEMS-3S 2025 is a hybrid IM with 2 dynamic driver and 2 MEMS drivers. Costing around $2,500 at the time of writing, the MEMS-3S 2025 is most likely to be my realistic endgame IM. I like the treble extension the MEMS-3S brings. I think it is well tuned and it brings a lot of sense of spaciousness. I like the mids reproduction and I like how the bass rumbles. I really like how the MEMS-3S reproduce soundstage with good depth, good width, and well-defined imaging. I think it is the perfect IM for those who enjoy listening to both the IMs and the song it is playing. The only downside I can think of from my time daily driving the MEMS-3S 2025 is the Energizer pack, and it is not necessarily a big deal, at least for me. As for the ratings, the MEMS-3S 2025 gets an A+ for tonality and an A for technicalities. I think it is the first time I give an A+ to a pair of IMs. I am not really sure. Well, that is it. That is my first ever review of a Soranik product. The first ever ultra high-end IM, and my first ever review of an IM that has MEMS driver technology. I think both Soranik and MEMS driver have a lot of potential, and I am looking forward to the next development. Have you tried the Soranik MEMS-3S 2025? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you again to a fellow headfire who shall not be named for lending me the Soranik MEMS-3S 2025. I truly enjoy my time testing and reviewing the MEMS-3S. I would like to also thank Mr. Hugh for having a chat with me. And last but not least is Beyond the Music Store for bringing Soranik to Indonesia. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.